and I'm officially single again. The reason why I chose to break up with Jessica Boyle is because I'm sick and tired of her emotional manipulations.
It finally happened, Tubes. I never thought we would reach this point. I thought that Josh and Jessica would just sort of meander on and on for a little bit, couple years maybe. I was thinking we would even get her showing up. I thought maybe he'd delay this, if he's having these actual emotions, maybe he'd delay until after she comes by, get some hoinky doink going on and send her on her way. But no, I think we actually are witnessing a mature Josh for once in maybe his entire YouTube career. He's going to go through a bunch of his issues and complications with Jessica to nobody's surprise, but basically the whole premise of this event was Jessica was on a live stream and she was basically just recording Josh and her's conversation and arguments, and he had enough of it and broke up with her through this YouTube video. Now that's very epic, Tubes. That's very cool. Now I'm not going to go over Jessica's aspect of this whole saga. If you want to see that, go look at Boglum Chronicles. He documents it pretty well, I think. But I'm mostly going to focus on what Josh is saying. What's the Joshy Poo got to say about this whole thing? Because, man, the dry spell's back on.
On top of being emotionally manipulative, she's easy to troll.
I know. We just stopped it. Satchery was just talking a second ago, and now he's talking again. We can't be having that. But throughout this entire thing, it basically feels like the dynamic of two 15-year-olds breaking up and probably getting back together, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm not 100% canceling out the fact that Jessica might actually end up showing up at Josh's trailer. I'm not canceling that out. I think there's still a chance for that. Now this, I love it because he's completely unaware. She gets trolled too much. Aw, Joshy me boy. She gets trolled too much, and it's, yeah, she does. I think she takes it more to heart than Josh does. Josh thinks that he has like the high ground, the moral superiority over the trolls. Jessica thinks that she's like gum on the bottom of your shoe, and whenever a troll points out a flaw of hers, she like self-destructs. So it's like you're at opposite sides of the political spectrum, and they're combining together to make a super trailer human, and we just won't get to see it anymore.
Every time we'd have a fight and I try to interject my thoughts, she would get mad and say, I'm not letting her finish her thoughts. And then when I would put the microphone on mute and just let her talk, why are you ignoring me? So I'm like, which is it? She's on Twitch right now spreading lies about me and trying to derail my fame because she knows I'm right.
So I think there's always been a complication with Josh and his relationships. I mean, technically speaking, his last air quote relationship was when he was stalking Ellen, I guess, if you want to count that as one. But even if you move further back, I feel like Josh has never really understood the dynamics of a relationship. And I'm sure you guys have heard of this before, but I'll repeat it anyway. They're especially when you're talking with women, I feel like men are much more concrete in terms of how they want to portray their thoughts and feelings, and they like to try and solve puzzles and problems and stuff like that. So when they're presented with a problem, they'll try and solve it. But sometimes your girlfriend might just want to vent to somebody, and Jessica's life is an absolute train wreck, right? And Josh even acknowledges it during this video. So I think most of the time she just needs somebody to vent to about how she's 40 and can't have kids and doesn't have a job and her parents don't like her. I mean, it's a really sad, pathetic lifestyle, but I think Joshy Poo was a bit too perplexed as to exactly how he should go and execute this thing.
I blocked her mom's number, I blocked her number, I blocked her messenger, I blocked her from Facebook, I've unfriended her, and changed my status to single. I bought Jessica that fire opal ring. She was all crying like, oh my God. I'm like, Jessica, what's the matter? And she goes, oh, these are happy tears. You're the first other half to buy me jewelry. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the first boyfriend that Jessica's had that's bought her jewelry just because.
And I have to interject another opinion here, boys. Correct me, but I feel like most of the time, any relationship I've ever had, including having conversations with friends or family that are of the female persuasion, I feel like a lot of the time, outside of like engagement slash wedding rings, women don't necessarily like getting jewelry from their significant other, because half the time, especially when it comes to like heart-shaped jewelry and stuff like that, I mean, it's mostly just men can't really figure out exactly what the best style is on them, and it's kind of a waste of money. Anyway, this whole thing, Josh thinks that he's slam doinking, oh, I really killed it with Jessica. I got her this 45-cent ring from the Walmart dispenser at the door. And, I guess maybe she liked it. Maybe she thought it was epic. It was cool. We don't know all the backstory of Jessica's prior relationships. I know one. I've seen some just real nasty with some other man. But, maybe Josh was the best that she could get. And I also like this picture that I have stuck in my head of Josh communicating with Jessica's 75-year-old mom, who probably doesn't even know how to text on her phone, but is getting text from a wizard that lives in Wyoming about her daughter, who she also hates and is currently screaming in the bathroom or in the attic right now. I just like that. I like that vision.
Good luck with what you're doing in life, Jessica, because I'm done. Go ahead and cancel the flight to Casper because I'm done. A lot of people who support me and care about me were warning me about her, saying, Josh, she's bad news. Ditch her, man. You could do so much better.
Now, I'm not convinced that Josh can do so much better. I don't know if we're going to see another girlfriend saga going on. I really don't. I mean, I don't know what Josh's prospects look like. I said it on stream a couple weeks ago. His front teeth are decaying out of his mouth. It's all going downhill from here, boys. It's a bad look. It's not great. But he did say, right, that the trolls were the reason why he got evicted from his apartment. Now he's backtracking on that. And I get it. You have to protect your girl. I understand. But we've been saying from the very get-go that the idea of Jessica was cool for half of that first day that she showed up at his apartment. And that was it. Because then her true personality started to come out. And we started to see how controlling she was of Josh. And trying to find his secret treasures and stuff like that. I mean, it was just a train wreck right from the get-go. And he refused to see that. And I think he refused to see that because he also understands he's got one chance. And his backup options probably don't exist. So it's a sad day in the Bogverse.
I will call you back later when I'm done doing my cameo shoutouts. Could you please quit blowing up my phone? Well, how am I supposed to know? I don't expect you to know. That's why I'm communicating with you, which is what you claim to be about. Well, okay then, and what does she do? Continues to blow up my phone. So I'm like, nope, I'm done. Believe me, I didn't want to break up with her.
And this is the craziest part, I think. I think this is the most mature part of this entire rant. Now, Josh sort of starts to go into this Spurgy mode where he's clearly getting very frustrated as he's talking about these things. And honestly, a lot of it is kind of just mundane. Yeah, this is a not working relationship. It's not surprising. I think there's more terrible things that Josh won't talk about. Now, Jessica, on the other hand, she was throwing out all these accusations, which I'm not going to acknowledge because I don't believe that they're true. I believe that when they were both doing Duster and they were both getting drunk, were there some bad things that went down? Probably both sides of the aisle. Yeah, probably. But I also don't really envision Josh as this malicious, crazy, dangerous person that's gonna do horrible acts against his partner. Now, I do think that his corn addiction's pretty bad. And I think that the story that Jessica keeps talking about with the lady with the fishnets, I think that's true. I don't doubt that. But I also think, they both sort of have to give each other leeway because they're both he's in his mid-30s, she's 40. I mean, your prospects are running out. Neither one of you have a job. Neither one of you really have desirable traits that a bunch of people around your age who are probably successful in their corporate careers are looking for. So I feel like there had to be some concessions given, but it really seemed like Josh tried to make things work and it just crumbled because Jessica is insane.
She has no one to blame but herself. And if Jessica's going, why did Josh break up with me? It's because you did it to yourself, Jessica. You're emotional, psychotic. Well, Jessica's like, no, I don't want to drink alcohol because I don't know when to stop. And I go, Jessica, I'm proud of you for recognizing you have a problem. And I try to support her. And Jessica is a bigger alcoholic than I am, or not living at home with mommy and daddy jobless.
So this is the ultimate point where they're doing an alcoholics competition. Who can be the bigger victim in terms of their ailment. And they're really uppercutting and fighting against each other to prove, actually, my life is so much worse because of this. Actually, I drink way more. And, like, obviously, nobody's going to be advocating. We see whenever Jessica shows up around Josh that he gets a little fruity loopy, if you're catching my drift. Like, he's definitely doing something. She's definitely bringing magic candy or something over there. And it's just not a good look. And I think that, can Josh cut down? Maybe. Can Jessica cut down? I doubt it. And part of it is Josh has a lot of confidence built into himself. He thinks he's good looking. He thinks he's talented. He thinks he can do all these things, right? Jessica doesn't really have those. And I think vices really devour those things. Like, if you have insecurities, that's where, like, a vice comes in. That's why people will eat a lot of food, or people will drink a lot, or people will gamble, right? It, like, feeds off of your own insecurities. Maybe Josh can cut back. I don't know. Maybe this is too far of a stretch. Maybe I'm deluding myself, but in terms, if we're comparing two of the worst, maybe he can do better.
Jessica said, sorry to bother you. And then I try to reassure her that, Jessica, you're not bothering me. Stop. I'll call you back when I can. I will find a woman that's way less trouble and a lot hotter. If me and Jessica were fighting nonstop and it caused her parents to kick her out of their house, Jessica would break up with me because she wouldn't put up with it. And Jessica, I'm sorry that I had to break up with you like this, but you did it to yourself.
And this is sort of the point that has stuck in my mind, that I think there's still a chance for a reconciliation between these two. I think Josh was very emotional and reacted very steadfastly to being squashed by her for the 50th millionth time or whatever, because that's exactly how this relationship works. Is he has to do everything at Jessica's whim. And if he doesn't, then she has an absolute freak out. And Josh is kind of a people pleaser, kind of. And I think in particular with his relationship, he's going to try and do that. Maybe he's learned from his past transgressions. Who really knows? But I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking there's like one phone call away where Jessica says, there's some hoinky doinky going on if I show up again, Joshy. You don't want that? You don't want me to come clean your food hack kitchen? Maybe she can turn on some moves and really convince the wizard to double guess himself.
Like, if I forget to call Jessica, she would use it to guilt trip me. I know it's because I'm ugly and I'm fat and I'm this and that, and you don't care about me and you don't want me as your girlfriend. Really? Because last night, when she said, I'll call you after my Twitch stream, she did text me, but she didn't call me, so I'm like, okay, you know what? What? So you can't get mad at me for forgetting when it's like literally we talk every day, and sometimes for 2 hours on end. And then when you try to talk to me, and I'm like, I'm busy, can I call you back? And you won't even give me a chance to call you back. You insistively blow up my phone because it's all about you and what you want.
And this is just sort of a tangential conversation that I'm going to bring up. If you're out there, props to you if you're able to do a long distance relationship. I feel like I've never really tried too hard to figure that aspect out. Most of the time, you play the game for a couple weeks and you're like, this ain't gonna work at all. And I think this conversation and this structure is exactly why. You can look at Josh's relationship, and if you're living on literally polar opposite sides of the country and you're broke and you can only see each other basically whenever she chooses to come, because Josh isn't going to fly there. I know there was the whole speculation a couple months ago, like 6 months ago, whatever it was, that he was going to go to Virginia. That fell through. That never really happened. I just can't really picture Josh going anywhere outside of Wyoming, if I'm being 100% honest. But Jessica will come in whenever she can get the money, and then she's going to cry and complain because she has to spend all the money, and she doesn't have any more money after that, and Josh is being mean to her. It's just like, don't deal with all that. You know, it's like, it's, even if they're like the best person ever, it's probably best if you're not planning on in the near future to reconnect in a centralized location or back in one of the two cities you're in currently. It probably isn't going to work. I don't know why I'm giving relationship advice in a King Cobra video. What am I doing?
Tried toughening Jessica up. I tried telling her, Jessica, honey, ignore the trolls. Ignore the trolls. Ignore the trolls. And she would not listen. She'd sit there and say, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Like she knows everything. And it's so annoying. Instead of going, interesting. That's a great way to look at it. I never thought about it like that before.
Josh, who are you fooling? You're not introspective in the slightest at all. You never sit there and think, actually, maybe I'm in the wrong. No, it's always the troll's fault. It's always some outside force's fault. And that's why this whole video is pretty funny, because the hypocrisy is coming through a lot. Where maybe not directly in the relationship with Jessica, but in other aspects of his life, he follows through with a bunch of these things that he's saying. And he can't really be aware of that. He thinks he's great at music. He thinks he's the best YouTuber ever. He thinks all the trolls have pathetic, sad lives and they don't know what they're talking about. But most of the time, Josh is in the wrong with things. And he just can't reflect and see that in Jessica. But that's why they were perfect for each other. And it's a sad day to see it crumble right in front of our eyes.
And that's just it. I think Jessica needed me more than I needed her. She's the one that destroyed the relationship. It's all her fault. No guy will ever love her the way I tried.
That's very goth ending, Tubes. It's very sad. I'd be curious as to what your opinion is. I still, even with me talking through all this stuff, I still think there's a chance they reconnect. Maybe not when she was planning on coming later this month to visit, but maybe down the road, because I think they're both going to realize, what else are they going to do? Who else are they going to fall back on? Because no matter how much money Josh allegedly can make off of his career, right? I don't think it's going to balance out the bad nature of him, the bad traits that he exhibits. So we'll see. Either way, it's a sad day. Dry spell back on. I guess we'll have to see what comes of this. Either way, guys, hope you enjoy. Till next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.